Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well in this quarantine period. So today I'm going to explain you the chapter How Daddy Played Ping Pong by Alexander Raskin. So this lesson is an excerpt, that means it's a part from the book written by Alexander Raskin only. The name of the book is When Daddy Was a Little Boy. So this lesson is a part from that book only. So let's get started. When Daddy was a little boy, from this line only, when the narrator said Daddy, we get to know that he's going to tell us about his father was a little school boy, means that's father's childhood. A new game was invented. It was called Ping Pong. Ping Pong, there's another name of Ping Pong which is table tennis. So we also call it table tennis. Ping Pong. Nowadays, lots of children play ping pong, but in those days, ping pong was all the rage. All the rage here means that it was quite popular. It was played from morning till night. From this thing only we get to know, from this line, that it was played from morning till night in every school and courtyard, on table, benches, grand pianos and on the floor, that it was so much popular that everybody used to play this game. Some even played it at night, not only in the morning but it was also played at night. People were so much fond of this game. Many kids forgot that anything else existed except ping pong. There were ping pong matches in Little Daddy's school. So there used to be matches as well. Now we know about that table tennis matches. It's popular now, but it was popular previously or previous days also. Now here in the line, there were ping pong matches in Little Daddy's school. Little Daddy, from this word we get to know that he's talking about his father's childhood, that when his father was quite young. Little Daddy's school, every single day, every class played each other to determine the school championship. So the class used to play, there was an inter-class competition to determine the school championship. That means to decide who is going to win, and that this was the firm way to decide the winner. Then they played each other and the winner became the district championship. Just like the other games, this was also played in the same way. Then there was a city tournament. The Moscow and the Leningrad played each other. So these two teams, or we can say these two places, played with each other. Now let's come to the next page. So Little Daddy was amazed. He just couldn't understand why it was so interesting to keep bouncing a little white ball back and forth with the little paddles. Little Daddy, that means the father, he was very amazed. He just couldn't understand why. He was amazed with the game and he was not able to understand that bouncing this little ball to back and forth, that means you paddle that with the help of the paddle, you just hit the ball, right? You play like that. Now what are the paddles? This thing, the pad from which you hit the ball. He just couldn't understand why it was so interesting to keep bouncing a little white ball back and forth with little paddles. Why don't you try it? One of his friends would say. From this line we get to know that the father, that means the Little Daddy, have not yet tried this game. It's no fun. Now this is the line said by the father. It sure is. No, it isn't. Just try it once. I don't want to. This is line said by the father. This conversation was repeated several times. Why this conversation was repeated several times? Because the father was way too much fond of the game, but he was not able to play it, or he was not, we can say that he was fearing that maybe he will not be able to play or his parents will scold him. Naturally, one bright day, Little Daddy got a ping pong paddle and took his place at one side of the table. So this was the time that he started playing the game, and that was the end of him. End of him means his downfall. Now from here we get to know that why this happened. I say one bright day. So our narrator said one bright day, but Little Daddy's parents considered it to be one of the darkest days of their lives. One of the darkest days. So there's a contrast between both the son and the grandparents, we can say, because there is a contrast between the thought. Okay. And all because little daddy became fascinated. The meaning of fascinated is to have interest in something by ping pong. So that means the little daddy got interested in the game just like others. In the beginning, he couldn't manage to hit the ball. So as he was first time he was going to play, so it was difficult for him to ace in the game. When he finally learned to hit the ball, it wouldn't bounce on the table. So this was a struggle that he was facing. At last, when little daddy managed to hit the ball and it bounced across the table, he took a real interest in the game. So first time, just like we play a new game, so in the beginning we are not able to understand that game, but once we get to know how to play it, it becomes interesting. Same thing happened with the little daddy. He discovered that there were different ways of hitting the ball. You could chop it or send it into a spin off to one of the corners. A good player could make the ball bounce on the part of the open side of the table that was the hardest to reach. So there were different tricks to play this game. Daddy still thinks ping pong is a wonderful game. Now from the past we have come to the present, that daddy still thinks that it is a wonderful game. But back then little daddy thought it was the most fascinating game in the world. So but पहले तो फादर को जो था वो और भी ज़्यादा गेम जो था पसंद आता था. In the world, one of the most fascinating game. He gave up reading. From this line we get to know how much he was fond of that game, that he gave up reading, he stopped doing his homework. The only reason he went to school at all was to play his favorite game. He began playing better and better by his marks, but his marks kept getting worse and worse because he already turned his all his concentration towards the game and not towards his work. So he was not doing his homework, he was not reading, he was not studying, he was only playing, and because of that he was losing his marks. Till here we are going to do this, and rest of the lesson I am going to explain you in the next video.